Hello and welcome to the Super Rugby final preview, not semi-final, final. We're finally there. Yes, this is it. Just one more game to go. It is the Crusaders versus the Jaguares. Hi, I'm Paul, guy behind DrivingMaul, your best place for predictions and opinion. And to preview the game, I have Herman joining me all the way from Sweden. How are you doing, sir?
Good morning from Sweden. It's 4:30 here, but I'm still in South Asian time in my body, so no problem to going.
So,
And I guess I'm gonna keep it. Sorry.
no. So we've had the Crusaders named their squad. We have a rumoured squad for or at least starting 15 for the Jaguares as well. But yes, this is going to be a classic game, and we were talking about the first time the Jaguares have ever made the Super Rugby final. But let me just read out some sort of facts for you that won't make particularly good reading for those in orange. The Crusaders and Jaguares have played twice, and the Crusaders have won both of them by a margin of 22 points. Only twice has the away team, has Super Rugby been won by a team outside its country. That was by the Crusaders against the Brumbies in 2000, and the Crusaders beating the Lions in South Africa in 2017. So that's not particularly good. What is good though is that 9 out of the last 13 Super Rugby finals have been decided by less than 10 points. So hopefully it will be a close one. And obviously the Crusaders have made the Super Rugby final more times than any other team. That's 14 times, more than twice as many as the next best team, which is the Brumbies with 6. So a lot of stuff there against the Jaguares. This really will be history making if the Jaguares make it, won't it, Herman?
Yes, it is. But let's do some positive stats about the Jaguares. Like I got two on top of my mind. They are the first expansion team to ever make the finals in Super Rugby.
And they have won 5 out of their last 6 Super Rugby games away from home.
Yeah, and they won 5 of the last 7 meetings against New Zealand teams.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, no, but that is like probably the most impressive stats of all, I would say. I mean, they have really learned how to play the Kiwi teams. And are you going to do a subtle dig on the South Africans who have been for years been going on about the traveling, how impossible it is to win in New Zealand? And I think Jaguars have proven to them, like, no, you have just been lazy.
Ooh, wow. That's Herman calling me lazy. That's not me. Come on, that's all the hate going to that social media ghost, please.
Bring it on. In Afrikaans.
So shall we? Let's quickly go through the teams then. The Crusaders. Pretty much, same as last week, except for injury enforced replacements. So we have Moody, Taylor, and Franks across that front row. Mitchell Dunshea comes in to replace Scott Barrett. Whitelock, Douglas, Todd Reed finish off the pack. We have Hall and Mwanga in the 9-10 combination. Bridge on one wing, Severis on the other wing, with Habili at the back, and Goodhue moves in one place to 12 to replace Karotti, and Braden Ennell comes in at 13. On the bench, Makileo, Noah Alalasoa, Luke Romano, Tafua, Drummond, Hunt, and then Will Jordan comes in because Braden Ennell has gone in to the starting at 15. So pretty much what we expected from the Crusaders, the same side except for those 2 injury replacements.
Yeah, I mean, only thing I would make a little discussion about would probably be Luke Romano from the bench. I was expecting him to start, but I think maybe he started from a bench when they won that final in Johannesburg in 2017, and he was awesome those last 25 minutes. So maybe that's where Coach Racer is going with his thinking about this selection, but he wants Romano to come in the last 25 and put the boot into the Jaguars if there still is a contest out there.
I'm not sure I've got the stats, but from memory, I can't remember Luke Romano starting a game this season. He's been
I don't think so either.
He's been a constant presence on that bench. Let's be honest, he is getting on a bit now in Super Rugby. So in age terms. So just have a quick look at the stats. So Luke Romano, 12 appearances, 0 starts this season. So
Okay. Good spotting, Paul. Before checking the stats.
So here is a player. Yeah, he's one of the players that's played sort of most of the games. So he's been ever present or in that side, but I say hasn't actually started. So he's clearly someone that they like to come off the bench. I don't know if he's got. I say he's getting older now, and whether fitness, pardon me, is starting to become an issue, and for the full 80. But he brings a lot of experience off that bench. For that last 20 minutes when they like to see games out.
I mean, can I just do a slight little dig of all those complaining about Jaguares being the Argentinian national side? Look at what players the Crusaders are replacing Barrett and Crotty with. Are they All Blacks players? Yes, they are. Both Romano and
Well, Romano was on the bench last week, so it's, to be fair, Mitchell Dunshea is actually the replacement. So yeah, he's gone straight into the starting 15.
Yep.
Which, as you say, it's a bit surprising that Luke didn't get promoted from the bench. But I think he is purely that he really has just got a bench role now for this team. And if you'd like to go through the Jaguares 15 as we know it.
We will. And we have in the front row, we have Tetas, Creevy, and Medrano. The change from last week is Tetas coming in here. Locks, Petin, Lavanini, as always. In the back row, we have Batera, Kremer, and Ortega Decio. There's a change that Kremer is coming back into the starting lineup again. The halfback is Decio and Cobelli and Bonilla. In the midfield, we have De La Fuente and Orlando. And the back three is Moroni, Moyano, and Bofelli. And that's the change there is Moyano is coming. So there are 3 changes to the expected Jaguars starting 15 is Tetas coming in the front row, Kramer coming in the back row, and Moyano is in the back 3.
Yep, and you mentioned Petty in there. He's going to be a big influence on any game he plays in, but he's going to need a big one today. He stole 2 line-outs against the Brumbies last weekend, which taking him up to 13, which means he's 3 more than anyone else in the competition. He is the top line-out stealer.
Wasn't he the top line-out stealer last season also?
Definitely, the Jaguares were up there last season. I can't remember whether he was actually top or not, but yeah, they've had a good line-out for some time.
Isn't it kind of interesting? Sorry for interrupting, but I think it's kind of interesting because I got the impression both before the Chief game and the Brumbies game that especially the Jaguars' lineup defense has been flying under the radar a little bit. And it's fairly obvious to anyone who's watching them regularly that they are very good at this. And I might add, I'm 100% sure that Crusader has not missed out on this. They will be fully prepared for it.
Well, they'll need to be because the Crusaders currently are ranked 10th with an 86% line-out success rate.
What?
In the competition.
That's a big surprise.
That's as you say. That is a big surprise. Whereas the Jaguares are 3rd with 91% success rate. So you've got to say that Crusaders will have been working on their lineouts this week.
But it was also an interesting comment by Razor Robinson after the game against Hurricanes when we asked him question about the Jaguars, and where he claimed that they started studying them way before the semifinal because in Razor and his coaching crew's mind, they were like really certain that they were going to play Jaguars in the final. They obviously didn't give the Brumbies any chance at all, but maybe that's just a subtle dig from the Kiwis to the Aussies afterwards. But it was interesting to hear. But Razor seems like he just can't help himself speaking the truth sometime in press conferences on that. Like he's.
Yeah, no, you're right. It shouldn't surprise us. And we should also expect a high-scoring game because we have number 1 and number 2 in the points tallies. So the Crusaders average 31 points a game, whereas the Jaguares average 28.6. So yeah, 1 and 2 there. So we expect a high-scoring game.
But I'm surprised there because there are a lot of stats that you're presenting so far that kind of suggest that the Jaguars are a little bit closer than actually, at least what I thought.
One of the things that's going to be interesting is we're going to have a very different style, and there is, and one of the Jaguares' issues here is if they play into the Crusaders' hands too much. So one of the things that we've talked about from the Crusaders, actually, scroll down and find the table so I make sure I get the actual numbers correct now. is around when the Crusaders score their points. So the Crusaders, they've scored 40 tries off first phase, 22 tries off phase 2 and 3. So that's 62 tries they've scored off in the first 3 phases. After phase 3, so phase 4 onwards, they've only scored 19 tries. 62 tries in 3 phases, 19 tries from phase 4 onwards. That what you really have to stop this team scoring off turnover ball and off set piece ball. That's where the Crusaders really will hurt you. Looking at the Jaguares defensively, they've given up 16 tries on first phase, which makes them one of the actually sort of second or third best. Sorry, Stormers and the Crusaders are the only two that better defending first phase, and then only 8 off phase 2 to 3. So again, they're the best there. With only the Crusaders giving up 8, everyone else giving up double figures in that period. So the Jaguares have got the right kind of defence in there. They give up tries from phase 4 onwards, but that's not when the Crusaders scored them. So that's going to be an interesting piece from them. If we look at Jaguares, 27 tries off first phase, 16 off phase 2 to 3. So that's 43. But then 12 from 4 to 6 and 12 from 7 onwards. So 24 tries after that. So the Jaguares much happier to go through multiple phases and build towards a score than the Crusaders. The Crusaders either happen straight away, which happens quite a lot straight away, to be fair, or they're going to put up a contestable kick, or they're going to kick the ball or they're going to try and do something to break broken field attack. So that's going to be kind of interesting there. The other thing is that the Jaguares are going to have to be careful that they don't let this game get out of hand, because if you look at when they score most of their tries, they score most of their tries in the fourth quarter. But by then, the Crusaders are normally long gone. So 14 tries in the first quarter, 15 just before half-time, 15 after half-time, and then 23 just before the end of the game. So the Jaguares are going to need to start better than that. For the Crusaders.
But I think in the last, sorry Paul for interrupting, I think in the last 3 or 4 games, Jaguares have scored within 4 minutes. So they have clearly improved in that department lately.
And the Crusaders, I mean, it's a cliche, isn't it? They score before and after half time. So that's where they've scored.
Not last week. Not last week.
No, not last week, to be fair. They've scored 22 tries just before half time and 27 just after. But only 15 at the beginning of the game and 17 at the end of the game. So, yeah, a good start from the Jaguares will be useful, and then obviously being tight defensively either side of half time is going to be important. But I think those are sort of cliched kind of things.
But still, as your stats suggest, and from my own memory bank, Jaguares has come from behind than more times from behind more than any other team in Super Rugby this season in the second half too.
Yep.
So there is some starch in that team for sure, but they don't get too stressed when they are behind.
And let's be honest, the Crusaders gave up a 20-point lead against the Chiefs over in.
Yes, they did. They did.
But I was talking about playing into the Crusaders' hands, and we just talked there about the fact that the Crusaders score off first phase, which is essentially kick returns, turnover ball, and set piece ball. Now, we've already talked about the fact that the Crusaders are going to have to tighten up that line out because the Jaguares will be good there. But kicks from hand, the Jaguares, 26 kicks a game, and that makes them the team that kicks the most out of any team in Super Rugby from hand. So expect the Crusaders to get a lot of opportunities to run that ball back at them, because I think that's going to be an area of concern. That kick chase has got to be spot on. Otherwise, that back three of Bridge, Havili, and Sevu Reece are going to cause some real damage, aren't they?
They are. But I think what Jaguars got to hang up their hopes to is that Bonilla has another game, because he has actually been excellent kicking out of hand in the second part of his season. I rewatched the game we played against Hurricanes away a few days ago, and I didn't really like catch it when I watched it the first time, but I watched it the second time and put my eyes on him a little bit more. I mean, he was super impressive. He made one mistake in 80 minutes. He missed one penalty to touch, but the rest of the kicks were pinpoint, exactly where they need to be. And I think he pretty much did the same against the Chiefs and the Brumbies too in these two playoffs games too. So it won't be like what I would think, like the Rebels who like serve it on the plate with the Crusaders when we kicked it to them.
No, it won't. Yeah. So that's one of those. That's one of the things I expect to see from the Jaguares. Is quite a lot of kicks from hand, a few less from about 20 a game is the Crusaders, which puts them down in 10th ranked for kicking from hand. So expect a little bit less from them. Where the Crusaders really hurt you though is clean breaks. They're number one for clean breaks, and that also means they make up a lot. They run a lot of meters. They're number one for meters made as well. So and number two for offloads. So expect that they're going to run it back. They're going to try and offload. They're going to try and not have phasers because they're only not ranked 9th for ruck success rate. We saw that against the Highlanders. They really didn't get their numbers at the ruck right, and that really hurt them.
You mean Hurricanes?
No, because Liam Coltman in the quarterfinal. Liam
Coltman. Oh yeah,
in
right.
that second half really caused them some problems. But then when you've got turnovers won, second in the competition, Jaguares with 8 a game. The Crusaders really going to have to have worked on their numbers at the breakdown, because that's going to be a real battle and a key area for the Jaguares.
But I think it's time we mention what for me is the biggest problem for the Jaguares is still going to be their scrum. There's a massive difference in quality here, and I hear too is predicted very wet conditions, so going to be a lot of dropped ball. And that's going to play into the hands of the Crusaders massively, I think.
Yep, we've got a wet weekend coming up over New Zealand, so here. Scrum success, 86% for the Jaguares, at 15th in the competition. They're the worst. They have the worst scrum.
They're worse than some wolves even, huh?
Worse than some wolves even. Now, I would say here, okay, look, first up, stats don't tell you everything, because the Crusaders are ranked 9th in the competition for their scrum. Now,
really, I would probably rank it as number 1 from the memory of my eyes.
Now, to be fair to them, the real problem has been when Moody, especially, but also when Franks has been injured and not been on the pitch, then their scrum really has struggled, that's and they've got both those guys back to start this game. So I think, as I say, stats don't. You need to take stats in context, and I think part of their context there is that those two guys have been injured a lot this season. So that's something. Their scrum is much better than the stats do suggest there. So, and if we look at ruck success rate, again you've got to take these things in context. Both these sides have a 96% success rate at ruck, but so it must come down to the decimal points, because the Crusaders are 9th, whereas the Jaguares are 2nd. But when you're talking about point something of a percent difference, that ranking. I say you've got to understand the context of some of these things rather than just take them all at face value.
Yep, I think another stat is, if you can probably confirm, these are the 2 most penalized teams in the competition too, isn't it?
Now this is funny, isn't it? Because everyone
some Wolves is up there too, I guess.
Yeah, some Wolves actually 15. So penalties conceded. Yeah, the Jaguares concede about 10 a game, or 10.2, and are 14th. But the Crusaders are actually 10th. So they've cleaned up their acts, because earlier in the season they were definitely the most. Now they give up 9.2. So there's only one penalty difference between them, even though we have 10th and 14th. But yes, they are two sides that are happy to push the envelope and give up 3 rather than 5.
Yeah, because to be fair, both of them there's a lot of cynical penalties going on there. Just as you say, they like to stop their opponents. Actually, you'd probably call it cynical, or you could also call it smart penalties. Very smart penalties they're taking. Very few stupid penalties both these teams are giving away.
Yeah, and you can see that in the yellow cards, really. They don't give up many yellow cards, but they do give up quite a few penalties. So we're not talking about dangerously high tackles on the whole. We're not talking about taking out players in the air, those sort of things that get you yellow cards. We're talking about, as you say, the more the cleverer penalties rather than those silly ones that happen. I think the other one here, offloads. Everyone has this image of the Jaguares being a big offloading team, but they offload about 7 times a game. They're ranked 13th for offloads compared to second for the Crusaders. Now again, it's only a difference of about 3 offloads a game, but I think the Jaguares are much more set up for quick rucks and ball retention than they are, and we've seen that with those tries they score after 4 phases, whereas the Crusaders are much more about trying to score right now rather than earning the right in a more traditional way that you see that the Jaguares are playing in. And that's probably why we can. So again, I expect the Crusaders to be spinning it much more wide, offloading, whereas I expect the Jaguares forwards to take it up several times and really try to tire out this Crusaders team before
now we have
going wide.
I mean, the only thing, there's one player in Jaguares who's like, I think he's the offloading king of Super Rugby this year. Is Pablo Matera. He offloads more than any other player, I think.
I will go and find that stat for you. I'll dig that one out while you.
Yeah, no, I think he's in top 3. I mean, so. But overall, I would think. I mean, Jaguares was probably a little bit too. How to say this? Sorry, pardon my French, but in the recent season, we were a little bit too offload horny. They were trying it a little bit too much, too many times, from almost impossible. And it came off sometimes, but it hurt them way more. So this more conservative approach to offloads and actually do them very really on has served them very, very well.
Yeah. Okay. So this is just players involved in this from these 2 teams rather than everybody. But you've got Pablo Matera, 22 offloads this season. But then it goes Goodhue 19, Todd 18, Reese 18, Mwanga 17, Fetu Douglas 14, Healy 11, Jordan Tafua 11, who'll come off the bench, Crotty 11, obviously he's not playing, before we get down to Petty and Orlando with 10 each. So yeah, you've got Pablo Matera, then you've got all these Crusaders. So
yeah. I mean, the only thing we could add to that, but there's also a little bit overlooked, because Jaguares has actually done squad rotation the full season. So if you look at the minutes played in their squad, it's like they spread out the minutes on almost, I think, on 27 or 28 players almost pretty fairly. So that's why so Matera has that kind of numbers with a lot less minutes than Goodhue, for example.
Well, actually, Matera's racked up 16 games.
Yeah, but he has far from started them all.
Oh, okay.
I think he's come up bench for five at least of it, 5 or 6 at least of it.
Yep. If Matera's holding the ball, look for the offload. If anyone else is, look for the ruck. I think it's
good point.
Kind of the thing. As we've talked about the line-out steal and the fact that Petty is going to be the main target for them. For the Crusaders, Scott Barrett has 4 steals and with 40 is kind of the main guy, but he's not there this weekend. So that means that players like Fetu Douglas, Reed are really somewhat really going to have to stand up in that.
Should we give that some extra attention? That the Crusaders are missing Barrett and Reed. What do you think that? How do you think that will affect?
Clearly, they're going to miss. Some of the key things about Barrett's game. A lot of people are saying he's as good a 6 as he's a lock. So obviously the mobility around the park that he brings you. But the other thing that he does really, really well that we saw work fantastic with Frizzell on his shoulder for the All Blacks is you'll see a lot of forwards basically get the ball and stationary tap it onto the next guy to try and. Whereas Scott Barrett is someone who will take it right to the line, and then at the last second, just before he's hit, he'll pass it on to the guy on his shoulder.
Yeah,
and that's what he's really good at, and that allowing that other player to make the line break rather than him, or to break a tackle. So they're gonna miss that from him as well. The carrying he does, not that hard yards, but those clever carries are a big part of his game.
I mean, he's very quick off of the ground after he tackles too. He's probably one of the fastest players I've seen in Super Rugby. I mean, if he tackles, he's boom back up in the line again.
Yeah, absolutely. And with Mitchell Dunshea, I mean, I thought it was going to be Quinton Strange there, but I guess Quinton Strange must be injured, to be honest, or missing. So there's, it is quite a step down in that kind of role. For Crotty, hard carrier, but then again, so is Goodhue. Good defender, but then again, so is Goodhue. So I don't think there's that much being lost by Goodhue being in there at 12 rather than Crotty, and really.
Can I come in? I would say, for me, like the unique selling point with Ryan Crotty is his organizational skills on the defense. And I've seen many times when he's not playing for Crusaders, it looks far easier to score tries on him, and he's not playing when he's actually playing. Same thing with the All Blacks actually too. I mean, he's.
Yep, that's definitely one of the things he's key for is organisational. What I would say is that because he's been out injured so much, that Goodhue both last season and this season, that Goodhue's had lots of experience having to take up that mantle.
Yeah.
Is he as good as Crotty? No, you're going to lose that there.
No, not.
And what you're really going to lose by moving Crotty in, Braden Ennor he has pace to burn. He is a very fast player, but he's not as big a player. So defensively, I think in that 13 channel, because Goodhue's moved in, Braden Ennor would be someone I would definitely try and send some big bodies down that channel, because he's not the biggest player. I would be very wary of the fact that with him, Bridge or Reese out wide, the pace that the Crusaders bring is absolutely crazy. Now,
yes.
In some ways, they're perhaps more dangerous with broken field play, but defensively, again, I say that could be the difference is that Goodhue isn't in that 13 channel.
And Jaguares are not too shabby on broken field play either, so they will look to take advantage of that hole that Crotty leaves for sure.
Yep. But it's not so much Crotty leaving. I think it's Goodhue leaving that hole at 13 rather than the hole at 12.
I'm a massive fan of Jack Goodhue. I mean, I've been really been almost like mesmerized by his Jettison Wong right up, going from just being like a squad player to be a starting All Black in 2 seasons and a 1.5 season basically. Just here I am, pick me. But I probably in the last 2 seasons he had his worst game ever I seen the last 2 seasons. Last week against the Hurricanes, he was not good at all. But he had maybe a little tough game because he was switched around with positions and he lost Crotty as a part. It was not an easy game for him to apply himself to. But it could be a slight concern in Goodhue's form at the moment, because he wasn't his same dominating self against the Highlanders either. So we'll see if there is a blip in form there, or if it just was temporary due circumstances. And now he's switching position again, and now he's going to play 12 again. So it's not.
Yep. Very true. The other thing that I would expect that I want to see someone do, and we've talked about on last night, the All Blacks edition, is Sevu Reece. Sure, he leads the competition on tries with 15 tries from 13 games, and he will be the top try scorer in this competition, unless Braden Ennor scores like 6 tries in this game. Or Orlando scores 8. But no, they're the 2 closest in this game to try and catch him. So he's going to be the top try scorer in this game. In the competition. What we really haven't seen is him is a real thorough examination under the high ball, and perhaps and defensively.
Yeah.
So now I don't know if that's the Crusaders formation just doesn't allow you to do that, or if no one's decided to really go for him. But I would have just trying to think who's opposite him from the
Moyano.
So Moyano,
who is very fast too.
But I'm thinking more in the air. Yeah, so I think more in the
And
air.
yeah, Bojan is a small guy, so I guess Reese going to get away with that
So
in this
yeah,
game too.
that would be something I would be looking at trying to see, because I say it's not something he's been examined with yet. I would love to see. I just think he need. If I was in opposition, I'd be looking at putting a few high balls.
They probably have to. If they want to target him, they probably should send Boffelli to challenge Reese on the high balls, because Boffelli is clearly, he's world class on the high ball.
Yeah. So,
but I think if Boffelli runs, I'm pretty sure we're going to see Bridge running in that direction too.
So if you suddenly see Boffelli out on the wing quite a bit, out on the left wing quite a bit, that's the tactic. That's what.
Yeah, but I think Crusaders will adapt right away. Bridge will move. Bridge will follow him like dog shit, you know.
Yes.
Like proper sticky stuff.
So yes, look to that would be a matchup I would try and isolate Boffelli against Reese under the high ball if you could. The other thing also to keep an eye on with Reese is, again, he's not the biggest guy, but he's and so he tends to go in with the shoulder rather than the arms for some tackles. So when he does powerful tackles, so do sort of keep an eye out for that, because he's also he's good for a penalty or two if you manage to get inside his head.
But it's pretty interesting actually. Just now when you mentioned it, you come up with many good points today, Paul. Both teams have actually pretty small. None of them apply big guy. Both.
Okay, we just lost a bit of a connection with you there. But you.
All right. Sorry. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay. No, I mean, but both teams apply pretty small back threes.
So
they clearly go for speed, both of them. They're not going for size in the back three.
As something that we've not seen Reed do much in the last couple of years is that ranging out wide, which he used to do. So
he doesn't have the legs for it anymore, Paul. He doesn't have the legs for it anymore. No, seriously, he's not that quick anymore.
So I don't know if we'll see maybe a Feshu Douglas or someone like that, or a Kramer or someone positioned out wide occasionally to give those smaller backs a bit of a bashing every now and then.
Fair call, because there are opportunities out there. I think, But I think Pablo Matera is not the biggest guy, but he's still much bigger than the wings, and he also got speed almost as good as them. So I think he will be one of the Jags guys who will be out hunting close to the touchlines.
Defensively, the way the Crusaders normally like to do it is they normally like Jack Goodhue to rush up in that 13 channel to cut off the outside players. Now with Jack Goodhue moved into 12 and Braden Enor having to take that role, will he time that quite so well? He's not as big a target to try and pass over the top of as well. So we might see a few floated passes out to the wings via that way as well. I think I've probably said everything I can say about this game.
Yeah. We covered most bases now, I think. I mean, what else I got in my mind? I'm really.
We've got left, really.
We're coming to prediction, but I'm really curious what Coach Quesada of the Jaguares, what his game plan really is. I'm super curious because he has proven himself being a very smooth operator this season. Really, it's very clear that the Jaguars study their opponents. They do like the complete opposite of Michael Sheka. They really study their opponents and looking for advantages. So it will be interesting to see what he think is actually weaknesses in the Crusaders team that they can use. And likewise with Racer, because it seems like the Crusaders clearly is a team that study their opponents too and looking for weaknesses. So it will be very interesting to see how what we're going to try to exploit with each other.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things we've seen quite a lot of in these final series is little chips over. So little chip kicks in behind to try and catch that sweeping scrum half out. So I don't know if either side will think that there's a hole there. So we've seen that over the last couple of weeks, definitely. And I mean, major hat tip to the Jaguares, because they change of coach and losing Sanchez. A lot of us were concerned for how they were going to go this season, but they really have stepped up with a mature club player in that pivot position, and a coach that
Bonilla,
and a coach who was part of the 2011 Rugby World Cup team. 2011 Rugby World Cup team for France, where we had an entire player revolt. But he doesn't look like he's driven anything like that this time around. He seems to have definitely got the Jaguares and the dressing room on board this season.
Oh, 100%. It's very clear that they are a harmonic side. Again, another similarity. I think it's like last words about it. I think it's pretty interesting that I think there's a lot of similarities between these two teams. A lot. And I think, and it goes down to a simple fact. I think it's Jaguares who admires the Crusaders. They be watching the best and try to copy them. And fair play to them. They done a very good job doing that.
Well, I think they've done it culturally, not necessarily playing style. So they don't offload anywhere near as much. They don't try and. They are definitely. They do rank. They do play differently.
I would say, like, for me, it's the thing that both these teams are probably the ones who have most strings on the guitar, if you know what I mean. They can pretty much score any type of try, and they are whatever weakness the opponents present, they are ready to use it, and they have the skills to use it. That I would say, so that's what I see the big similarity between them both two. And it seems like both teams right now have very strong cultures, like proper teams who, look at it, they rarely lose their heads, any player of both teams.
True. Now, one thing that has been bugging me about this Jaguares team, or about the Jaguares head coach in particular, is why does he sit in his own room, on his own, during a game? Every other coach sits in the coach's box. He has an entire box to himself, something like 16 seats, and he has the whole room to himself. No one's there.
You don't know why?
Go on.
He has stomach problems. No, I'm kidding. Okay.
No.
No, I think, to my understanding, what I read, I do a little bit of Spanish, but I do a lot of Google Translate, reading Argentine rugby media. And he seems to be like, when he set the plan and watch him a game, he's much more about just make his decision more through like what his eyes is telling him, not what stats and other people, like really trust his own instincts when he actually watch the game, because all the preparation you do with everyone else, but he seems like to think when it's game time, you got to deliver the goods. You got to do your job and hope everyone else is doing their job too. And fair play to him. It works fairly good for him.
It works for him. It's just interesting. Yeah, it's a different approach to any other to any other coach, which is interesting. Cool. So I will be back on Saturday with post-match reaction for you to this game. Last week I didn't do any because I was here at this beer festival.
You do a prop here.
I was at the beer festival last weekend, so there were no post-match reactions last weekend. But this weekend there will be a post-match reaction. So do subscribe and hit the bell and all that kind of stuff for the channel, please.
So, what is your prediction, Paul?
My prediction: I've gone Crusaders by 7.
Okay, just in the name of justice, I'm going Jaguares by 7 then. I have this like quietly confident feeling that the Jaguars somehow are going to make it, because it's the whole makeup of that team seems to embrace to go like and to take what is actually the ultimate challenge in Super Rugby, play the Crusaders away in a home final, in an away final. You can't.
Will they be able to have the same bouncing around tunnel for the players to come out to?
I think we will do that. Try to do that again. No, but it's. At the same time, we're having this like pretty like strong gut feeling that the Jaguars has what it takes. It makes me almost sick to say like I'm gonna predict that Crusaders gonna lose a home final. You know, it's not. You're really putting your ass on the line with that prediction. Open yourself up to some serious insults afterwards. But I can't help it. I'm. If there's any team that can break that very, very, very impressive win streak the Crusaders have, I think it is the Jaguars. I think this is, for them, it's proper legend status for them if they win this one. It would be the most upsetting most legendary Super Rugby win ever. To beat the Crusaders in Christchurch doesn't get better than that.
Yep, no, exactly.
It
will be a massive.
elevate yourself to.
As you're right, they would go down in history. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Herman, for joining me for this.
Thank you, Paul.
Don't forget, you can become a supporter of the channel down below. For patreon.com/DrivingMaul. It's how you support the channel. I'll be doing an exclusive Rugby World Cup Prediction League for my supporters. So go down and check that out. Also, if you're watching the game and you want to have someone to chat to, then I believe 2 Cents Rugby will be doing a watching show on YouTube. So he'll be live streaming him watching the game and chatting away with people in the live chat. So you can do that, join the game, and then drop off there and come and join me for the post-match reaction on this channel. So have a good week and enjoy the game this weekend.